Hey everybody, I'm Swift. I'm really excited to be back up here today to help kick off day number 2 of Hackcon. As I mentioned last night, this is one of the few opportunities that we have to get some of our most passionate community members together under one roof. And we're here to talk about the student hacker movement. Specifically, I want to reflect on where we've come from, what we were able to accomplish as a group over the last year, and then start thinking about what we're going to be doing in the coming year and the years after that. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that I cannot imagine another place in the world where there are more people in the same space thinking about the future of young technologists, and you should be incredibly proud of everything you've been able to accomplish and your passion. So I say this every year at Hackcon, and it is true today as it was the first time I said it back in 2013. This has been a huge year for student hackers. I can't wait to tell you all about it. I think you're going to agree with me by the end of this talk. But quick refresher, I'm Swift. I'm CEO and co-founder of Major League Hacking. You can follow me on Twitter at SwiftAlpha1. I'm going to be tweeting the slides of this deck after the talk, so you'll have access to all of it as well. If you ever want to reach out to me, you can also hit me up by email. It's just swift@mlh.io. I try my best to answer every single email that I get from anybody in our community, so if you ever have any questions or you're curious about anything at all, you can always feel free to reach out to me. So, undeniably, the 2017 Hackathon season was the best season that Major League Hacking and this community ever had. We were able to serve more events and more hackers than ever before. In every interaction we had, we were able to do it more consistently and with a ton of additional value and quality that we've never been able to do in the past. I want to look at that in more detail though. What exactly happened in the 2017 season? Well, for starters, you organized 238 events in the last year alone. That's up 30% from last year. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of clapping today, so fair warning. That's 50 times the number of hackathons today than there were when I got my start as a student hacker. And it was a huge milestone for Major League Hacking as an organization as well. As of January 2017, MLH had supported a little bit over 400 hackathons over the entire lifetime of our organization. 50% of those hackathons happened in 2016 alone. We have a higher demand for these events than we've ever had before. We're averaging about 7 events per weekend during the academic year. I remember the first time that we had 2 events on the same weekend, it felt like it was a disaster, like there wouldn't be enough hackers to go around. We could not have been more wrong. We were able to support 15 simultaneous events all around the world this year. We broke our record for the busiest weekend 4 separate times in the last 6 months. And we were able to support 25% more hackers on any given weekend of the year than we've ever been able to. And that's a lot of hackathons. But those events, they don't plan themselves. We have a community of over 2,000 organizers that we worked with this year to help make all of those events happen. We estimate that collectively, you spent about 60,000 hours creating amazing experiences for hackers. That translates into almost 7 years of organizing time spent planning these events. And on the day of the event, our staff was proud to be serving hackers right alongside you. In fact, we flew over 500,000 miles this year to get to your events and make sure that we were able to support you and the hackers there. That's like flying around the world 20 times. There were events in over 15 countries this year. And we spent a lot of time at those events too. Collectively, the MLH team spent over 9,000 hours physically at your hackathons. That's more than a year's worth of time serving you and hackers. And we tackled a variety of jobs. Nothing was too big or small for an MLHer. And I just want to share a few of the places that we were able to make a big impact that I'm really proud of. For starters, we loaned out 10,000 devices this year through the MLH Hardware Lab. We believe that hackers should have access to the latest and greatest technology, regardless of whether they can afford it or not. The lab is stocked with everything from Oculus Rift to Amazon Alexa, Arduino, and so much more. We even brought laptops for hackers who couldn't afford one powerful enough to bring their dream to life. Over 70% of teams reported they actually used devices from the MLH Hardware Lab in some capacity during the hackathon. And we're really proud of that. We also know that hacking can be exhausting, and sometimes hackers just need a break. And so that's why this year we organized over 750 of those fun breaks called mini events at your hackathons. And attendees love them. We did everything from coding challenges, drawing contests, and everybody's favorite, cup stacking. 50% of hackers reported they participated in it at least one mini event this season. The most popular mini event we had was this game called cup stacking. And collectively, hackers stacked over 188,000 cups over the last year. That's a lot of cups. They put their engineering skills to the test by building the tallest tower of cups possible in a really limited amount of time. While it might seem really silly, hackers love it, and it was a great way to take a break from hacking. In addition to cups, hackers also love free stuff, surprise, especially free stuff that lets them show off their hacker pride. And so this year we were able to give away 245,000 stickers to help hackers do exactly that. I guess we have some sticker fans in the audience. We also gave out these special stickers called iDemo stickers that help celebrate every hacker that was brave enough to get up and share what they made with the world. The only thing that hackers love more than cups and stickers, though, is shirts, and we gave out a lot of them, 24,000 of them to be exact. And these shirts collectively generated about 50 million impressions from people wearing them. That helps increase awareness of the hackathon community and celebrate the amazing things that people are doing every single day. And beyond just shirts and stickers, we gave out a whole lot more. It added up to about $8 million in value we gave to hackers at your events this season. That's Soylent, hosting credit, domains, prizes out the wazoo, and we did it all to inspire and empower hackers to do what they do best. And we're really proud of this. And the thing that drove us to do it was one thing. Pulling off a season like this is a tremendous effort from both you and the MLH team. And many of the people in this room played an instrumental part in making that possible. And the thing that motivated us to do it, the thing that kept us all together, that was our mission. And at Major League Hacking, our mission is to empower hackers. This is what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's what gets our entire team out of bed. It's what's driven us for the last 4 years, and it's going to keep driving us into the future as well. Working towards this mission is how we measure our success. And it's so important to us that in 2016, we made it official and became a certified B Corporation. For those of you who aren't familiar, B Corps are a new type of for-profit company that allows you to balance being mission-driven with building a sustainable organization. Becoming a B Corp means that I know that MLH will remain true to that same mission that drove me to start the company 4 years ago. And our work and passion and pursuit of this mission paid off. We were able to support over 65,000 student hackers this year. That's hackers from over 3,000 schools all across the world who were able to learn, build, and share their creations with the world. More hackers attended your events than attend the largest university in the United States. Hackers anticipate they're going to go to 2 to 3 times as many events in the coming season. So why are they so hungry for this? Well, we actually went out and asked them. The 3 main reasons that hackers go to your events are learning, networking, and fun. These are the same 3 reasons that were true when I started out as a student hacker, and they will be the same 3 reasons that will be true well into the future. Hackers want to learn new skills, meet other hackers and potential employers, and have a fun time doing it. And they keep coming back because it's working. 88% of student hackers think they are getting skills at your hackathons that they are not getting in the classroom. And honestly, that reflects my personal experience in computer science as well. The skills that hackers are learning at MLH hackathons are translating into results that set them apart. 41% of hackers say they got skills at a hackathon that helped them get a job. There's a widening gap between the world's technical talent and the demand for that talent. And we're helping to bridge that gap every single day. The ROI for your sponsors is even more tangible than that. Of all the hackers who met companies at your events and applied, 1 in 3 got a job at one of those companies. This makes hackathons one of the most effective recruiting channels of all time. Career fairs account for a majority of recruiting budgets on campus still to this day, but somewhere between only 2 and 5% of students actually get jobs through career fairs. The most forward-thinking companies in the world are sponsoring your events because they know this is the best place to find amazing technical talent. And hackers recognize that too. Hackers think that your hackathons are the best hackathons in the world. 78% of hackers prefer MLH member events to any other hackathon they've ever been to. And that's because they know that this community has their interests in mind and is working hard to serve them every single day. And that's because that mission that drives Major League Hacking to empower hackers is your mission too. That's the thing that gets every one of you out of bed in the morning. It's the thing that inspires you to do what you do best. And so I could not be more proud to be serving hackers alongside of you. And that passion, that's what made this a huge year for student hackers. While we still have a long, long way to go, we should be incredibly proud of what we were able to accomplish as a group so far. I continue to be inspired by this community every single day, and I hope it inspires you too. Give yourselves a huge round of applause for everything that you were able to accomplish in the last year. My inspiration doesn't just come from numbers, though. It comes from hearing your stories. And specifically, I want to share a couple of stories today from organizers in our community about how they're living out this mission every day. And specifically, I want to share a couple of stories that really resonate with me, and I think they're going to resonate with you too. But before I get into that, I actually want to share my own story because I think it's important to understand how I actually got into this and what inspires me to pursue that mission every day. So, meet Swift. That's me. I didn't start out as a student hacker, believe it or not. But when I discovered this community, it changed my life. My story actually starts way back in high school. I was running a small landscaping business in my parents' hometown. While all of my friends were bussing tables and working in restaurants, I was out mowing lawns, and it was a great way to earn money and have a good job during high school. But the time came for me to go off to university, and my parents astutely pointed out that I probably wouldn't be able to bring my lawnmowers to the dorm room because my roommate might kill me if I did. So I did what any young, enterprising college student would do. I went on the Rutgers job board, I sorted the jobs by how much they paid, and I clicked the one that paid the most at the very top, and applied for it. It was a programming job, but I had never programmed before in my life. I had no idea what to expect, and I walked in and interviewed, and God knows what reason, but they actually gave me the job. I was writing accounting software in PHP of all things, so it was pretty bad, but it was a great job. The thing is though, I didn't really tell anybody about it. I wasn't a hacker. Hackathons weren't a thing that I knew about. They probably didn't really exist very much back then. And I didn't even really know about startups or any of that stuff. I actually wanted to be a lawyer. And so I did that job for a couple of years. And fast forward, I remember it had been snowing this day because we were building an igloo in my backyard, because I guess that's what you do when it snows in New Brunswick. And I had to leave to go to work. And one of my roommates at the time said, "Hey, what happened to Swift? Why isn't he helping us with this igloo?" And my roommate actually ratted me out. He said, "Oh, he's in a room programming. That's what he does for work." This housemate came running to my room, burst through my door and said, "Hey, I hear you program. I'm going to this thing tomorrow called a hackathon. You have to come with me." I asked him a little bit more about it, and honestly, I thought it wasn't for me. I thought this was for amazing programmers who have been doing this since they were 6 years old. I didn't want to be a programmer. I wanted to be a lawyer. But after a little bit of back and forth, he actually convinced me to go. That was Hackcon Y in the fall of 2010. When I walked into the room, I found a community of other people who blew me away. There were 100 other students who were giving up their weekend to learn, build, and share their creations with the world. I'd never seen anything like it before. I stayed up all night making a hack. It was a mashup of Facebook and Dropbox. It was going to be a file sharing network for you and your friends. At the end of the hackathon, I actually locked myself out of my own hack and couldn't even demo it. It was really embarrassing. But I stayed up all night, and the next day when I went home, of course, I just crashed entirely. When I woke up though, I looked myself in the mirror and I said, that was the best experience of my life. Forget being a lawyer, I want to be a programmer. And so it inspired me to switch into computer science and start down the path that led me here today. But the thing about that story, the thing that makes it so interesting, is it's not actually that special. We hear that story every single day when we're at one of your hackathons. Hackers are inspired by this community. Going to a hackathon ignites a passion that can last for a lifetime. But getting somebody out to that first event, that can be tough. Of all the hackers who register for your events, 32% of them don't actually show up due to a misconception about hackathons. They didn't think they were technically skilled enough, or that they needed a team beforehand, or they needed to have some amazing idea. And the problems don't stop once we actually get somebody in the door. At any given event during the season, 50% of hackers are first-time hackers. They've never been to a hackathon before. And many of them don't end up demoing. About 22% of those people don't demo due to a similar misconception about hackathons. They think their project's too buggy or not good enough. So a few months back, we set out to answer a question that we hear all the time. What is a hackathon? We created a video that answered that question, and over 50,000 people around the world watched it. Hackers say it's an incredible resource for introducing hackathons to their friends. Sponsors have used it to justify sponsoring your events to their bosses. Organizers have shared it with their administrators and embedded it on the front page of their website to help answer that very question. We were blown away by the reception, and we want to do more, which brings me to my first announcement of the day. We are committed to creating even more resources just like that video for you. Over the next 12 months, we're aiming to release a suite of resources that you can use to explain hackathons, hacker culture, and onboard new people into this community. That'll take the form of videos, reports, articles, and you can use all of it for free. In addition to that, we're committed to providing even better support on the ground to hackers and you at your events. MLH staff members receive weeks of training throughout the year to prepare them to actually be there on site supporting you. They learn everything from advanced event logistics to handling code of conduct violations and way more. There's also several new things that we've been piloting recently, and today we're excited to announce that we're formalizing a couple of those. As of this Thursday, we started rolling out 2 new additional parts of our training that every MLH rep receives. The first one, they learn how to run a team formation workshop. 25% of the hackers who go to your events actually figure out what they're going to do and who they're going to work with on the day of the event. Many hackers who don't end up saying or who don't demo don't do so because they were unable to find a team. It is critical that we do whatever we can to help onboard those people into our community and give them the best possible experience we can. Every MLH staff member learns how to run this basic team formation workshop using our best practices, and they can start doing it this fall at your events. We also want to better help hackers with the common problems that they encounter while they're hacking. And so we're rolling out training for our event reps to help them become even better mentors. They learn how to debug basic problems, and we've been partnering with organizations like Amazon Web Services to do technology-specific certifications. 70% of hackers who don't demo don't do so because of bugs in their project that probably could have been addressed by a mentor. We think by training MLH reps to be even better mentors on site, we're going to be able to make a huge impact on thousands of hackers who otherwise wouldn't have had a great experience. And that brings me to my second story. I'd like to introduce you to Ike Arizu. Ike joined our community the same way that I did. He actually went out to a hackathon. At the time, he was living in London, teaching people about agile product development. He heard about the hackathon from one of his students and wasn't sure what it was, but decided to try it on a whim. At that hackathon, he found a community that was just as excited about technology as he was. At the end of the weekend, unsurprisingly, Ike was hooked. He even flew all the way to South Africa to go to his second hackathon. When the time came for him to go back to school at Texas Southern University, he couldn't wait to share that excitement with his classmates. But to Ike's surprise, there wasn't much interest. Texas Southern is one of about 100 historically black colleges and universities in the United States. Commonly, we refer to them as the HBCUs. The HBCUs were established to serve the black community here in the US, and to this day, they play a critical role in education. Texas Southern, like many HBCUs, isn't thought of as a top CS school. And Ike found that many of the students there didn't have the confidence in their skills despite being promising hackers. He felt like he had a responsibility to do something about that. So he learned about a local computing society and actually ran for president of the organization. And Ike won. His passion shone through, and his classmates elected him president. But he didn't waste any time celebrating. Ike got right to work. He knew the best way to ignite that passion in the students in his community was to bring a hackathon to Texas Southern. He started meeting with administrators and other classmates to get them on board. But nobody believed that he could pull it off. Lucky for Ike, he heard about another nearby hackathon at the University of Houston, Code Red. Ike was blown away by the quality of this event. There, he met the lead organizer, Andy. And Ike told Andy about the challenges that he was facing bringing a hackathon to his school. And lucky for him, Andy had a solution. He told Ike about MLH, the resources and support that we provide to organizers, this community of amazing people who can help support him along the way. And Andy connected us with Ike so we could help him bring his vision to life. But Andy didn't stop there. He really took Ike and his team under his wing. He demonstrated one of Major League Hacking's core values, this idea of learn, build, share, by passing on his experience to help another organizer in our community. Andy did everything from scouting venues on Texas Southern campus to consulting with their IT department about how to run the Wi-Fi. Ultimately, with Andy's support and MLH's resources, Ike was able to land a venue and become an official MLH member event this season. But now, he had bigger problems. He needed to find sponsorship money and hackers who would actually come out to this event. Since Ike's hackathon was a first-time hackathon in the Major League Hacking season, he received his first $1,000 sponsorship through the GitHub grant program that we announced last year at Hackcon. Since then, we gave away 90 GitHub grants to first-time events of the MLH season. We know that raising sponsorship is one of the hardest parts of starting a hackathon, and GitHub is committed to providing every first-time MLH member event with a $1,000 grant to be their first sponsor. That $1,000 covers some basic expenses and puts a great logo on your website so that you can demonstrate to other sponsors that this is going to be an amazing event. And while landing GitHub was a huge deal for Ike, he still had a long way to go. So he put together a GoFundMe to raise money to bring a group of students from Texas Southern to Silicon Valley. They drove all the way from Houston to San Francisco to literally knock on doors of the sponsors that they wanted out at their event. He told them about Texas Southern and about his dreams to bring a hackathon there. And all that hard work, it paid off. Ike was able to raise nearly 80% of his event's budget from the companies he met knocking door to door in Silicon Valley. He also worked hard to get the word out to hackers by working with MLH and several other organizations. At the end of the day, hackers from across the Southwest came to his event and had an amazing experience. The school administrators also showed up, and they were so blown away that they paid for a meal at the hackathon on the spot, and they put the event on the front page of the school's website. It was a huge deal. And naturally, Ike and his team felt amazing, but he was worried. Before that day, hackers at Texas Southern didn't really have the confidence in themselves and their abilities. But now, they couldn't wait to get out to more hackathons and learn, build, and share with their friends. Ike needed to figure out a way to get them together more frequently to keep that momentum going. So he started hosting club meetings more regularly. They came up with this grand plan, a huge vision of transforming Texas Southern into a hacker paradise. But that ended up being way harder than they thought. Ike soon found himself spending hours planning out activities and creating content. It was impossible to be that creative all the time and also run the club. So he reached out to MLH for support. And luckily, we had just launched a product that was basically built for him. It's called MLH Localhost. We've created a set of workshops and activities that inspire and excite hackers. Anyone can run one. You just put in a request, and a few days later, you receive a box with everything you need to run the workshop. This program enables leaders like Ike to focus on creating an amazing experience for hackers. This was such a big deal for him that he actually ran 2 MLH Localhost events in just a few weeks. I want to share a short video from one of our MLH Localhost events this season to give you a taste for what it's like. One of the biggest pieces of feedback we get from hackers every year is that they want to keep learning after hackathons end. Students are not getting the skills they need to be successful in the classroom anymore, and so they're going outside the classroom. MLH Localhost is an opportunity for us to take cutting-edge technology and curriculum from our partners and put it in the hands of those student leaders.
I think it's really important that clubs teach this sort of material because there's definitely a big gap between the theoretical computer science knowledge that you learn in class and what you're expected to know and to work in industry.
Computer classes at my college, it's just so old school. At Localhost, it's a very small classroom size. You do get that one-to-one attention.
Having student leaders on campus teach the workshops enables you to teach potentially hundreds or thousands of workshops over the course of a year.
Just like knowing that a student is able to use Docker, I feel like confident that I'll be able to use it too.
Docker will help me build my web application at my job and deploy it on any type of computer, anywhere, anytime.
I think MLH Localhost really puts in the legwork for a lot of these clubs and campuses because it creates really high quality content with instructions. Students in the classroom can go from nothing to an example working app.
MLH works closely with brands to develop a custom piece of content that fits the best possible learning experience for a hacker. We then work with student leaders on campus and give them everything they need to actually run the workshop. A presentation they can use the day of, an instructor guide that actually explicitly outlines how to teach that specific workshop, and one-on-one training with an MLH expert who answers any of the questions they have about your technologies. At the end of every MLH localhost workshop, they get to go home with a custom branded piece of swag that we work with you to distribute to them.
The teacher did really well. He really slowly and concisely explained all the commands and what they meant.
He felt more of like a big brother.
I really liked the slides. They were very step by step. There was also like a pause so that we can ask questions whenever we want to.
After every MLH localhost event, students walk out the door having learned something new that's applicable right then and there. They can take that working code sample, customize it, and continue to learn on your platform.
I definitely think the workshop was a success. We had about 25, maybe 30 people, and they were engaged the entire time for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
The Docker workshop was great.
I really enjoyed it and I learned a lot.
People were smiling and having those aha moments when they were able to get the pages up and running.
I love Major League Hacking.
Today, Ike is continuing to serve hackers at Texas Southern. His hacker club is using MLH localhost as a platform to train the next generation of organizers and to get hackers excited about technology. They plan to organize a weekly workshop and monthly hack day every day this semester. That's a lot of content. And one of the biggest requests that we get from organizers once they complete their first MLH localhost event is more content. But to this day, we didn't really have a lot to offer them. But starting this fall, we're excited to announce that we're going to be rolling out 12 weeks worth of content through MLH localhost that you can start running with your community immediately. Ike's dream of having content to run each week is about to become a reality. The content we're producing will cover skills that hackers need to be successful. This will be everything from technical workshops to softer skills like public speaking or interview practice. There's one workshop in particular that we're about to launch that I am really, really excited about. And this is our most requested piece of content by far. It also directly aligns with our goal of better onboarding new hackers into this community. Starting this fall, we're going to be launching an MLH localhost Build Your First Website module. This module aims to teach aspiring hackers the building blocks of HTML and CSS. That way, they can get started with web dev and be confident enough to participate in their first hackathon. Participants will learn by building a basic personal website that they can use to celebrate being a hacker. This will cover everything from where they go to school, what workshops they participated in, and even what projects they made at your events. We think this is going to make a huge impact and help a lot of people who are first-timers get started with this community. Another reason we're really excited about MLH localhost is because it can empower hackers at literally any stage of their career. While we originally built this to help support student clubs, we've been seeing adoption in places like summer camps, code schools, meetups, and even in the workplace. There's another place that I think MLH localhost can make a huge impact, and it's directly related to a lot of the people in this room. Hackers care deeply about having access to quality workshops at your hackathons, and we know exactly how hard it can be to find that content. That's why today, we're excited to announce that every event in the season is going to get priority access to MLH localhost as a league benefit. This guarantees that you'll get access to the existing suite of localhost content and even get some special access to some stuff that's made just for you and your events. This is a great way to teach new organizers and start preparing them for leadership positions once you graduate. You don't need to be an expert in the content to teach it either. MLH localhost modules are designed to be taught by non-experts. It's designed to be a gentle introduction to hackers into some of the most exciting technologies that they need to do amazing things in their career. With 12 weeks of content, workshops for newbies, and priority access for league organizers, MLH can support you in all of your endeavors year-round. We've uncovered something here that's really special, and hackers are hungry for more. We can't wait to see what you do with all of this, and it's going to be an amazing experience. And this brings me to my final story of the day. I want to introduce you to Sharon Lynn. Sharon's story actually starts back in high school, just like mine. At the time, she was actually attending Stuyvesant High School in New York City. Unlike me, though, Sharon was lucky enough to be brought into this community early in her academic career. Sharon didn't know what hackathons were at the time, but it seemed like a cool opportunity when she heard about her first one. Her school did have a computer science club, but she wasn't a part of it. While she was excited about technology, she thought coding would be boring. Hackathon seemed like an interesting take that might actually make it fun, so she figured it was worth a try. That hackathon was Pearl Hacks. As an MLH hackathon working hard to create an encouraging environment for women to pursue their interest in technology. As a first-time hacker though, Sharon felt a little bit intimidated. She was also in high school, surrounded by all these amazing hackers who could be in university too. She did manage to find a team though, and at the end of the hackathon, they didn't want to demo their hack. They thought it was too buggy and not really impressive enough. After all the hard work they put in, they were about to give up and go home. But lucky for Sharon, a wild mentor appeared and convinced them to demo. The judges were so impressed by what they saw that they ended up awarding Sharon and her team the award for the best high school hack at Pearl Hacks. Needless to say, after that experience, Sharon was hooked. At that event, she also learned about MLH, and when she went to the website, she found tons of other events happening right in her backyard that she could attend. There was just one problem though. At the time, most of those events weren't open to high school students. But Sharon didn't give up. She managed to find 12 hackathons over that course of that first year that she was able to attend. But like me, at the beginning of her career in this, Sharon didn't really tell anybody what she was doing. She wasn't sure what they would think of her and this crazy thing she was doing every weekend called a hackathon. Ultimately though, the welcoming nature of our community actually won her over, and she brought hackathons to her friends, started inviting them out with her. And soon, there was a small, passionate group of hackers going out to as many hackathons as they possibly could. And Sharon's passion for hackathons continued to grow. She wanted to share it with even more of her friends back at Stuyvesant High School. When she pitched her administrators on bringing a hackathon there, they weren't convinced, they didn't get it. So Sharon reached out to MLH for support. We know from our experience talking to hundreds of administrators over the course of the year that the best way to convince somebody that the value of a hackathon is just to show them. We also told Sharon about this event we organized called Local Hack Day. It's designed to be a gentle introduction for people in hackathons, both hackers and organizers, and it's really easy for a first-time organizer to do. The year that Sharon organized her first local hack day, she joined 90 other schools around the world, and actually 150 hackers came out to her local hack day, and it ended up in aggregate being one of the largest days of student hacking ever to happen. Local Hack Day was a huge opportunity for Sharon and her team. They were able to get valuable experience under their belt and really gain confidence as organizers. They leveraged the success of that event into Stuyvesant's first overnight hackathon, StyHacks, and they were actually able to join the MLH season too. Sharon and her team made a point to make the event open to young and aspiring hackers. There were hackers as young as 5th grade out at her event learning to code. Sharon started finally to get some recognition for her work, but she wasn't done yet. Sharon wanted to find a way to make an impact on even more hackers year-round. She heard about this thing called the MLH Coaches Program. I think she heard about it from a friend who attended Hackcon last year, actually. Coaches are community members who represent MLH at events. They spend their days supporting hackathon organizers just like Sharon or any of you, and mentoring hackers while they're there too. Oh, and it's a paid position. What could be better than getting paid to go fly around to hackathons? It seemed like the perfect opportunity for Sharon. But there was just one problem. Sharon wasn't 18 yet, and she couldn't officially join the program. But in typical Sharon fashion, she didn't give up. She kept working with MLH and traveling to as many hackathons as she could, and soon she was able to join the program. Today, she's a rising star in the coaches program. Last season, she attended 6 hackathons to help some of the organizers in this very room. Through her work with MLH, Sharon's fulfilling her personal mission to empower hackers every single day. But it didn't stop there either. She's also been organizing MLH local hosts for hackers in her community. She was able to run 2 more hackathons at Stuyvesant since those first 2, and since then she's successfully passed on the torch to a completely new set of organizers who are going to carry on her legacy. Next, she's heading off to MIT to help empower hackers there. We can't wait to see what Sharon does next. And there is so much that we can learn from Sharon's journey, from an unsure hacker to one of our many rising community leaders. And MLH has resources to support people like Sharon at every step in their journey. Local Hack Day is obviously one of those major resources. We frequently hear from both hackers and organizers that local hack day was the thing that inspired them to jump into this community headfirst. And last year, by working with our friends at GitHub, we were able to host 160 simultaneous local hack days all around the world. We grew the event by more than 100% in a single year. And that's why today, we're excited to announce that Local Hack Day is coming back and it's going to be bigger than ever. This year, on December 2nd, we're aiming to keep growing Local Hack Day to support even more events and even more hackers everywhere. And with localhost ramping up, we're going to have a ton of great introductory content so that you can run those for hackers on site at the events as well. Registration is live right now. You can go to localhackday.mlh.io to sign up to host an event. It is one of the most amazing experiences for organizers, especially for training new ones too. I highly encourage you to check it out. And a lot more people want to participate in Local Hack Day than actually can, because Local Hack Day has this one problem. It only happens once a year. And if you have a scheduling conflict, you missed it. We know that your community's passion for hacking isn't just one day. It literally goes around the whole year. And so earlier this year, we actually started experimenting with a way to bring the value of Local Hack Day to your community whenever you need it. And that's why today we're excited to announce that we're releasing MLH Local's Hack Day module. This makes the experience of Local Hack Day available to you at any time. Organizing one is as easy as picking a date, getting a venue, and soon a box will arrive on your doorstep with everything you need to put on your first hack day. We've run a few of these over the summer, and the results are incredibly promising. We think this is going to make organizing hack days around the year much, much, much easier, and it's going to be an amazing resource for you. So we're really excited about all of these new projects we're working on, and we hope that you are too. What can you start doing today, though, to be a more effective community leader? I've got 3 things that I think that I want to share. The first one is always remember the mission. This is the reason that we all do what we do, and we can never lose sight of this. I know how hard it can be to organize events. I know how hard it can be to be a leader in a community. And some days you wake up and you might be feeling discouraged. But reflecting on this mission and making sure that you always keep that close to heart and are thinking about it constantly is a way to keep going and keep inspired. We need to be constantly thinking about ways that we bring new people into this community too, both organizers and hackers. We need to be able to explain the value of hackathons and the hacker movement. With MLH's new content, you're going to have resources to do just that, and our event reps are going to be even more prepared to help you. We also think with some of the new introductory content for localhost, that'll make your life easier when you're in your club meetings too. Second, remember that we're stronger together than we could ever be as individuals. Both Ike and Sharon got lots of support from organizers in this community. We need to encourage more of that. And during Cheese Talk later this weekend, we have some more exciting announcements about what MLH is doing to make this happen. I can't wait for you to hear them. If you're looking for new and exciting opportunities as a leader, think about joining the coaches program. It's a great way to give back and help support the organizers who make this exciting movement possible. And if you want to keep going when you graduate, Major League Hacking has a ton of full-time opportunities too. You can give back to this community every single day by working with us. And third, remember that being a leader doesn't end when your hackathon does. You need to keep that momentum going and be always thinking about what to do next. Between localhost and Local Hack Day, you have 2 huge resources that will enable you to do just that. Make sure you take advantage of them and use them to train the next generation of organizers who's going to take the torch from you. So with that, I actually want to transition to answering any questions. I know that there's a lot of content, and I'd love to hear what you think and make sure that I have any opportunity to answer any questions that you might have.
Cool, let's give Swift a huge round of applause before we go forward.